Hey everybody, Diagnostic Derek here. Got a 2011 Honda CRV and the passenger window's not working. So we got to find out why it doesn't work from the driver's door switch or the passenger door switch. So the first thing we're going to have to do is get this door panel off so we can get inside. Can't get to the electrical connection under this switch from the outside. The only way to do it is to pull the door panel off, so that's what we're going to do first. I removed the power window switch from the door panel. It comes off from the inside, and plugged it in here so we can do some quick checks. On our wiring diagram, our two wires going to this window motor from the switch are the blue and red wires at pins 7 and 8. It's going to be these two on this corner. So what I'm going to do is I've got two back probes here, and I'm going to back probe both of those wires. It doesn't matter which one goes to which lead, because we're going to check that the window switch works in both directions. So back probe both of those. And basically what I want to see here is I want to see this meter read 12 volts positive when we click the switch one direction, 12 volts negative the other direction. So I press down on it. Oh, I better turn the key on. Okay, so see, should get 12 volts positive. 9.3, 9.4, that's pretty good. The engine's not running, and my guess is that the motor's locked up, so we're going to have quite a bit of voltage drop across that circuit and down the ground. So 9.5 is pretty decent there. Let's start the engine, see if that voltage goes up. So there's 11 volts with the engine running. So 11 volts should be enough to get this motor to make some kind of effort to move. It's not making any effort at all. So the next thing we need to do is pull this shield out of here so we can get to the motor. We're going to repeat this same test at the motor. It looks like back probing the wires at the power window motor is not going to be an option. It's way down here at the bottom of the door. There's really not much room to get your hand in there. Can't see what you're doing.
So instead of doing that, what I've decided to do is I've taken my amp clamp, clamped it on the red wire that goes from the switch to the power window motor. It doesn't matter which wire you're hooked on or which direction your clamp is facing, because you should read positive amperage in one direction, negative amperage in the other direction. So what I'm going to do is just press the window button, see what our amperage is, and that should tell us whether or not we've got a good circuit by how much current flow we've got. So I'll go ahead and hit the down button. And oh, hang on, let me fix my scale. We'll put it on a 20 amp scale. There we go. 11.5 amps. So we'll go up, and that's 11.5 amps again. So what we know, if we're flowing 11.5 amps through this circuit, we don't need any more circuit checks. We already know our switch works. We know that we've got power ground. We know that we're flowing current. All our wiring from the switch down to the motor is good. This motor's locked up, or the regulator's locked up, one of the two. I did notice that the cable on this regulator up here is really, really tight. So it might have come unspooled in the drum down at the bottom of this regulator and gotten jammed up. But either way, if we can flow 11.5 amps through that circuit, we know all our wiring is good. We know all that's good. So what we'll do is we'll get a motor and regulator assembly, and we'll just replace the whole thing. So we'll give this customer a call, give them an estimate on that repair. The customer gave us the go-ahead to fix it, but we're not going to have the parts here till tomorrow. So I'm going to back it out, move on to the next one. We'll finish this video up tomorrow. But it is now tomorrow. We've got a new motor and regulator assembly. I'm going to put this one in. Let's start getting some stuff out of the way. Now, there's two bolts up here at the top that hold the glass to the regulator. We're going to have to get this glass down so we can get to those. Since the motor's locked up, it doesn't move. The best way to do that, so we're just going to go in here and cut that cable. Be careful, because that glass will come down in a hurry. And there it is. Bring the new regulator down. We can get to those bolts. Looks like a fix. Clean off your dirty fingerprints. Don't be the guy that leaves them on the glass. So I pulled the motor off of this regulator to see if it's locked up, and the regulator's not locked up. It does move, so that tells me that this motor's locked up. We could take a power probe and jump power and ground to it and prove that, but we know it's locked up. The car's fixed. We got the new window motor on. It's working. I already gave the keys to the service writer. Told them they could give it back to the customer. So got other cars to move on to, so that's what we're going to do. Throw all this in the scrap iron pile and move on to the next one. We'll see this one again the next time it breaks.